I was on vacation with my family in Grand Cayman, part of the Cayman Islands. It was a great vacation. We had a great time. The kids were having a great time. And that all took a turn the morning of we were supposed to fly out when I took a massive heart attack. And that's when I collapsed.
He's having a widowmaker heart attack. It's the worst heart attack somebody can experience. Young father, husband, in critical condition.
Hi, my name's Anthony Barresi. I'm a retired NYPD police officer out of Staten Island, New York. I worked there for 20 years out of the 120 precinct. Once I got to the Cayman Hospital, I was put in the cath lab and eventually put on an ECMO machine for life-sustaining function because they weren't sure if I was going to make it out alive.
Anthony was diagnosed with a massive STEMI and taken for emergency cardiac catheterization to open blockages in both the RCA and LAD. He coded multiple times, requiring defibrillation and cardioversion to stabilize his heart. He had to be placed on an intra-aortic balloon pump, sedated and intubated. The next day, his heart began to fail entirely, and he was placed on ECMO, a last resort measure. His wife was told to prepare for the worst.
When I was admitted to the Cayman Hospital, my wife saw somebody else getting transported out, and she asked them about transport out of the Caymans. So when she called that company, they don't transport out on ECMO. And at that time, I was on the ECMO machine. So at that point, she started searching. And that's when she got in touch with Vital One and Isaac and found out that they do transport international while on the ECMO, which is huge. From that point, when she was put in touch with Isaac, Vital One handled all the paperwork, all the medical documentation. He said, I'll have my team down there and we'll take him out, and don't worry about anything else the hospital's telling you. We'll handle everything from here. And we didn't have to worry about laying out money or insurance because the Vital One team took care of everything. Nothing came out of our pockets. We didn't have to lay out any money, and it took a relief off her and the family that everything was handled by Isaac and Vital One.
Within hours, a highly experienced team specializing in ECMO was on their way to the Cayman Islands.
I remember the Vital One team basically busting into the hospital. It was like an extraction. It was like something out of a movie. And they're like, we're here to take Anthony, and we're taking him out. And that's what it was. It was, like Navy SEALs or something? Nobody was getting in their way, and they were just taking me out and bringing me back to the States. And they knew exactly how to do it and what to do.
Upon arrival to the hospital in the Cayman Islands, our ECMO air team found him attached to an ECMO machine in critical condition. The team must move deliberately to bring him to definitive care in the U.S. Vital One's ECMO air meticulously, deliberately, and expeditiously transferred him and his chest tube to the ECMO air portable machines and rushed him to our waiting jet in the Cayman Islands airport.
I remember being loaded up onto the plane, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And it was my first time being on a private jet. The plane was set up like it's a mobile hospital with a perfusionist on board for the ECMO, that if there was any medical need or life-sustaining function needed, it could be done right there on that plane and with the staff available. So to have your own private perfusionist with your own private ECMO machine transported in a flight is huge, because not many people can actually do that. Isaac arranged everything to get me back to the States, bed transport and all that, to make sure which hospitals had open beds to accept me. So that one phone call to 1-800-MEDEVAC takes care of everything.
We landed in Florida several hours later and rushed him to Kendall Hospital for definitive care in the U.S.
I remember being wheeled into their emergency room while I was still on ECMO, and the Vital One team was there the entire time while the doctors were assessing me and everything. And the Vital One team made sure that I was getting the proper care that I needed and made sure that I was admitted correctly.
Vital One also prepared, packaged, and delivered full custom meals to the family, pilots, and all crew members involved.
Only a few short days after being stabilized in South Florida, retired Officer Anthony was ready to be transported to a facility closer to home while still on ECMO. The ECMO Air team reassembled and once again transported Anthony expeditiously to Pennsylvania for continued care.
We're on the way now to pick up a fellow NYPD member of service that suffered a severe medical episode while on vacation in the Caribbean islands. We are on the way to pick him up and transport him safely to his home hospital where he can get his proper care that he needs.
I was in Miami. I remember being in the hospital room, and then the Vital One team showed up, and it was basically an extraction, just like out of the Caymans. The team shows up, everybody has a job to do, everybody executes their job flawlessly. There's no hiccups with anything, there's no questioning anything, and they're able to get the job done immediately and get that sense of relief that you're getting back to where you're supposed to be. Being a police officer for 20 years at NYPD, if we needed assistance with stuff, we would call our emergency service unit.
That's usually deploying divers to the medical emergency.
When the public needs help, they call the police. When the police need help, they call the emergency service.
And they would show up and they would handle the important stuff and the big stuff. You called them, they had everybody on the team had a job to do, and they were able to do the job and execute it correctly, and everything was done. And Vital One, it's just like the emergency service of the medical transport field, international and national. You need it done right, you call them, and they come in and have everything executed according to a plan. The plan is done right. They were here to get me out, and they got me out in record time. Everybody was so well trained. I can't thank them enough for their compassion and their training. It was the most well-oiled machine I've ever seen.
I'm here with Vital One. We have a patient that's on ECMO. They need this life support device in order for their heart to continue functioning and for their body to maintain organ perfusion. The patient's in cardiogenic shock right now, so they need the ECMO support. They're going up for a potential LVAD placement or a heart transplant. The main point of this machine is to help out with increasing the blood pressure and increasing the perfusion to the rest of the body, mainly the vital organs, the brain, liver, heart, lungs.
Take a flow probe off, there's a bubble.
Mission today is taking a fellow member of service, NYPD officer, to a hospital close to family and friends, where he will continue his expert care and make a full recovery.
Transporting such a patient is not a simple feat. It requires a meticulous crew, attention to detail, and a host of other logistics that need to be in place. With all the ins and outs of this transport, Vital One ensures it will be smooth without any hiccups on the way.
ETA 29, but we're going to cut that down.
Isaac is a logistical master. Everything is taken care of from A to Z. Vital One is the best for this job.
Our jet's set up for a patient with all the items needed for intensive care and critical care. People refer to this aircraft as a flying ICU, intensive care unit. The airplane's fast, all equipped with all the latest equipment necessary for these very professional guys to take care of the patient. We work very closely with Vital One on numerous occasions. They provide very seamless transportation for critical care patients from bedside to bedside. Vital One medics and the people behind the scenes put these trips together. A lot of work goes on to make the actual trip on the day flawless and seamless in every way. We absolutely love these guys. We love working with them. It's always a pleasure. We make a good crew and a good team.
Vital One specializes in these supercritical patients that need the top experts in the field to transport efficiently, safely, and bring these very medically complex patients from anywhere in the world where catastrophe may strike to expert care.
My name is Anthony. I was on vacation in the Cayman Islands, sustained a heart attack, stabilized in one of their hospitals. Vital One transported me to Miami to get me out of the Caymans, and now Vital One's transporting me back to Pennsylvania. Everybody's been great, attentive, helpful on everything, every little movement, making sure you're comfortable, under great care the whole time, and it's been a joy.
Being that the first flight was covered through Isaac, and my wife was worried about being that we were back in the States, would the medical insurance cover another flight back to our area? And what's it gonna cost? At that point, Isaac told her, everything's taken care of. Don't worry about any money out of pocket. Everything will be covered, and Vital One will take care of everything. So that was a huge relief. That's the first thing everybody would worry about is, well, where do I come up with the money? And the Vital One team immediately takes care of that relief for your loved ones when you're out of the country.
All the ambulance transfers, both flights, including the ECMO air specialist, came at no cost to the patient with direct insurance billing. Additionally, Medevac.org facilitated stateside accepting doctors and secured a hospital bed assignment at no cost to the patient with qualifying insurance. With qualifying insurance, there's no cost to you. 1-800-MEDEVAC.
To get me transported back to my area in Pennsylvania, one of the things you have to worry about is, will the hospital have a bed available, and can you get a physician to admit you to that hospital? All that was taken care of by Isaac. He was able to get in touch with a physician in Miami who was able to get me admitted to a hospital up in Pennsylvania, and everything was taken care of. The bed was available in Pennsylvania while I was in Miami, before I even touched down in Pennsylvania, and Isaac was able to put all that in motion. I don't know how, but everything was all taken care of, and it's a huge relief. We later found out that the Cayman Hospital left surgical sponges in a wound in my chest that actually got infected, that we didn't find out until I was back into the Pennsylvania hospital. So that was like 15 days later, and at that point they were already infected. So good thing is the Vital One got me out of the Cayman Hospital before they could do any more damage. After my 3 days in Cayman and 3 days in Miami, 28 days in the hospital in Pennsylvania, they were able to wean me off the ECMO machine, and I was released to home. And I was under recovery, doing fine, physical therapy, cardiac rehab. Then on October 21st, I was having chest pains again, and I went to my local ER, where at that point I was transferred to Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in New Jersey, and I have to be placed on ECMO again, and I was placed on the heart transplant list. I was a status 1 because I was put back on the ECMO because I went into cardiac arrest in the hospital. November 22nd of 2025, I received a heart transplant. Following a brief hospital stay after the transplant, I was discharged on December 9th.
Just a few short months later, the ECMO Air team was ecstatic to learn that retired Officer Anthony received a successful heart transplant and is well on his road to a full recovery. We really wish him and his beautiful family all the best and a healthy, long life.
So it's not just a company that gets you out of where you are medically, because they care about their job and they're passionate about their job and what they do. That's what makes the company a company that you want to use. And I could thank Vital One for getting me back to the States in July. It's been a long 6 months, but everything's going good now. I'm looking forward to getting back into shape, getting back into the gym, a daily routine. I'm looking forward to just living a normal life again and just living life with the family again.